here to Bro. The Azir still sticks out in a big way.
Ooh.
As that's an interesting start to the draft.
I like it though for Bro. They've also identified, we need to make sure Ona can't play damage champ, so you ban Nocturne, you ban Xin Zhao, and then you pick the OP champion left.
I think you can first pick Xin Zhao yourself if you want to, if you're confident in Hanbok's abilities. You can also take, well, that's not going to happen. You can take the Azir as first pick, which would be really safe. We're going to be nice denial to Faker.
Or you ban it here, but ooh, Lilia.
I think that Talia will be banned in this final spot since they banned Kalista on blue side.
Or maybe you don't ban Talia so that Faker can play it
either
into the Azir that's going to be left up.
I think that's probably what they'll do. No, they banned the Azir.
Wow.
So that should be a first pick Talia, you have to imagine. Unless there's another prio pick going for him. The Jace is still up, but with not picking the Jace and the Gwen, I feel like Morga's just not playing it at all. You know, it just ain't happening. And so they'll take the Talia away from Faker instead. This does leave Doran with the opportunity to pick up that Jace right here and right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of perplexed. I'm understanding. I get why BRION waited a little bit, you know, hesitated for the Talia lock-in because it felt like it was given to them on a silver platter, right? With the fact that the Azir was then banned away, this is what Closer has looked the best on. What are they going to pair it with, though? That's the question. More damage to come out of the jungle. This is what you want to see as Doran locks away the Viego for Ona, one of his better champions throughout his career. And of course, there was Nidalee, there was Lee Sin. It's very hard to ban away all the damaged junglers.
Oh,
what is the response from Hanbok going to be is, oh, there it is. That's what you want to see. It's Doran on a tank, baby.
I'm not sure if it's what I want to see, but it is good for Doran, I would say. And will we see the counter pick to come through now? The answer is no, as they're going to grab Wukong Misfortune here. Even though the Rel is gone, can still be quite powerful. It's a pretty safe blind pick in the bottom lane. Faker, I was going to say, like, the only thing that's really left for him that I like with this Viego is the Galio in terms of the meta. There are other mid champions that work really well with Viego, but they're a little bit more fringe right now. So they will end up locking this down. They're going to need a little bit more damage in the bottom lane. They're going to need Guma on a pretty big scaling champion, and I think that Bro should start to take some of those champs away. Like Zeri feels really powerful here. I know Guma has shied away from that pick in the past, but Jinx is another pick that he could potentially play in a draft like this to great success.
I think a Jinx ban is mandatory.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning. It feels like the best possible world for Guma, and Keria has a plethora of champs he can play with it. Caitlyn is one that it's good. It's one that you're worried about if you want to make sure you have bottom side control with this Misfortune. But I think with the top side looking like this here for T1, you know, you're okay to lose lane a little bit in the bottom lane. It's not going to be, as long as you're not getting completely crushed, I think you're fine.
Wait, have we seen Morgan's Nidalee top?
Well, this is the thing, like, because he could play Jace or Nidalee, and both are super comfortable here, and they didn't ban the Jace. I think T1 have identified this guy's just not playing it, man. They would have first picked it if they had the chance. They would have played it into the Gwen if they had the chance. And so they're taking away some of his comfort instead, but Nidalee fairly simple. As the Alistar tier list slots in, makes some of the picks we were talking about a little bit less likely. You know, Jinx Lulu would have been a strong combo that we're no longer able to see with the ban coming through there in that final spot. Zeri Alistar could be a thing.
Oh,
this is
Yorick.
It wins, but I don't know if I like it.
I mean, I love Yorick as a champion. I always have. Goalie Wall, greatest ability name of all time. It doesn't fill me with joy. We just watched a perfect game occur, almost. The Yorick in that game was able to take 2 turrets, which were the only things that stopped the perfect game from existing. Still, it didn't look great. The Nautilus is going to be the last remaining engaged support that could actually come out.
Is he so bold to play Aphelios here?
Oh my goodness.
No.
I mean, it has to be, it's got to be Zeri.
It's Zeri
right?
or Aphelios, right? Like, no, that's not the one.
Okay, Lucian, I mean, it feels a lot more like a Gumayushi champ.
Yes.
It does offer you a fair bit of poke there as well, but it's a lot of dashy and a lot of Talia as an answer.
Yeah, the dashes are really good at getting away from some of the other problem CCs here, but the Talia is going to be an issue. And also when you dash away from Wukong.
Honestly, I think comfort is important, but would have liked to see something with a little bit more hyper carry potential. There was only really Zeri and Aphelios like you were talking about, unless you wanted to play Cog more, something weird like that. But I think the Lucian, as we saw already, Gumayushi really, really good at getting maximum damage out of it. Let's dive onto the rift for game number 3.
환영합니다.
Ooh, T1 fans here at Lowell Park have found their voices, ladies and gentlemen, as Polo not going to be walking into that devastating smash. As Hype is also closing in, spots the three of them moving over, and I think if T1 had waited there, they could have just killed one of them.
No, at least got a flash.
Yeah, but not wanting to risk it just in case the rest of Bro were in the area. Now just going to move back into their jungle and into the safety of the Fog of War. So no one actually going to be taken down in this early game. Will be an honest laning phase.
The one thing that Lucian does have, and you mentioned it, we talked about earlier, that Aphelios doesn't, is a dash, right? And he also has a lot of lane power. Aphelios has his own different types of lane power, and he has his moments where he can gravitate him, and maybe the Viego's there at the right timing, and Alistar gets into the thick of things, and you can make something happen there. Like it's not necessarily like way worse than Lucian in lane. There's other aspects of the kit that are better. But given Guma's proficiency on the Aphelios, so what it does for this draft, even though it's riskier, that's the kind of thing I wanted to see out of Fearless. I'm like, oh, it's Fearless. Maybe in game 3 in this situation, Guma plays Aphelios. He's playing Lucian, which is a little bit less meta than a lot of our other AD carries, but getting a little bit more popular these days.
Yeah, we saw it was Diablo that played it yesterday. I'm pretty sure. Looked pretty good on the champion as well. That was just after Gumishi played it for the first time. Is Hook going to connect here onto Carrier? Of course, Polo with a little bit more to do at level 1 than good old Alistar.
Yeah, this is not the fun part of the lane for the Lucian just yet with the Alistar pairing, which is another reason why the Lucian doesn't feel as strong as it would with a lot of other pairings. I mean, Nami is just so gutted that you can't play Lucian Nami anymore. And obviously you can't play it when you locked in an Alistar before you pick the Lucian, but they're split here.
Polo is actually going to take a turret shot, and there's the headbutt onto Hype as he takes so much damage. That wraparound was adorable from Carrier, but
it's so
kind of
predictable
surprised
as well, though.
that Bro fell for it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what does Alistar do when he only has headbutt? He doesn't hurt you, but the turret will. So as it turns out,
yeah, they were holding on to that tech.
Like that,
Hype is just going to go home, and this gives all of the control over to T1 in this lane.
I don't think this could be worse, except if Hype had died. So, unfortunate situation here for Bro, but Carrier.
Look at this wave state, man. It is
it's unplayable.
The Bros.
He's like, I've got the oldest trick in the book. Let's see. And the thing is, it wasn't really punishable by Bro. They could have just walked away and been like, oh, okay, well, we'll concede some control, but Carrier really didn't risk anything by that. He just fished, and he caught a big one.
And Polo is going to hit level 3 pretty soon, so there that is. He's at least got an extra button or two. There's now Ona looking for this Talia perhaps in the mid lane. Yeah, this guy's pretty good at the Viego.
He's pretty good at a lot.
Whoa, there's the flash in. We saw Chovy do this yesterday. It's a decent seismic shove, but the flash is already down on Closer. And Faker looking to try and get out of there, but Ona's just going to grab the kill. That is a lot of damage from the turret, but Humbug, I don't think he's quite going to be able to lock down this Viego. They at least do trade even on flashes. That is a kill going over to T1 there in the mid lane.
Yeah. Kill goes over to Hambach.
Yeah, wait, how did Faker die?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think it was the turret, but I was actually confused by that as well, because I was focused on, like, can he get the kill
I looked
on
at
Owner?
the top of my screen. I'm like, why is it 1-1?
Yeah, because we'll have to see it again. I think it must have been the turret, right?
Yeah.
He must have had aggro for an extra second, which explains why Owner was not taking as much damage as Hambach wanted him to. And Hambach wanted to flash to get the red buff tick so that he could then hope to chase. That did not work out. So we'll watch this again. As it's a really nice setup here from Faker with a flash play. Closer reads the play instantly and is like, okay, I know what's coming. Hambach comes over instantly here as well. Faker takes an extra... Oh, he's that extra turret shot plus Hambach's auto. Yeah.
It was already in the air, and I was already focused on Ona, thinking that Faker had kind of made it out. But still, it is going to be first blood over to T1. Still a slight advantage towards them, especially given the fact that this wave is now in a pretty horrible spot for Closer to deal with.
It will be okay here. Paul is going to come over and help bail him out.
Yep.
And Faker's, realizes this, just clears it anyways. The bottom lane salvaged pretty well here by Bro.
Yep.
And, there's a faster swap to the top here for Guma with the tempo he has, so that feels really nice. So that means that with the leader teleport down here for Morgan, it means that the Scion is kind of chilling. The Scion that should be losing lane hard actually now has a teleport advantage. Ooh. As that's not...
There's a lot of rocks.
It's not the ideal place to dash away, but Faker's fine with it.
Yep, also puts a ward down on top of the sweeper that Polo already had at the ready. Still does give some additional information over to T1 about where Polo is. Great buffer of the Justice Punch. Faker's still going to take a fair bit of damage. They're still buying some time, though, as Owner still on this. They have full information. There is a control ward in the back of this pit. Now Humbug looking to make his way in. No flash, remember, as the Weaver's Wall comes down, as that is just a steal, and Owner is just going to get wiped out. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, a little greedy
as
there.
Now Doran's in trouble as well. The Maiden. Is she going to be able to take him down? That's the question. Look at Morgan taking care of his Maiden. Absolutely beautiful stuff.
Yeah, a fair Maiden.
Yes, indeed.
One that is fair and just as well and lets Doran live. Doran doesn't have to flash, but those lose a lot of control there. But you didn't have Prio in mid or in bot to hold that dragon. So Owner was just saying, like, maybe they're a little bit too slow. Maybe I can greed for this. But the Weaver's Wall allows Closer to get there so fast that it was a very risky call, and he is punished for it.
Oh, Humbug was thinking about trying to grab some shellfish here, but he's going to be denied. Able to use that Warrior Tricks to get over the wall.
He got it.
Comes in, and he will be able to steal this away.
If he got it, he would have gotten 6. So super frustrated with that. This is going to try to go get it off the Gromp now and then come over. But there's a window of time here now for T1 to take these grubs before he hits 6. Yeah, so really nice deny there by T1. That was pretty pivotal to actually secure that Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, really nicely done. And we're going to have a look at this one more time. Humbug just comes in, steals it away. And Closer, I mean, he's just been really, really good at this Taliyah. So obviously finds the shove, takes down Owner there.
You feel okay with it if you get the dragon?
Oh no, the Bully Wall. It's going to trap him. He sidesteps the knock-up. And Doran's so tanky, it doesn't really matter as I'm commentating top lane matchups, Wolf. Oh, the grand trap. But still, it's going well for the Lord.
Doran's like, well, you don't have your Ghoulie Wall now, so I'll fully channel this Q.
Yeah, look at those little ghoulies. Always reminds me of like TFT. I think it was like set 10 or I don't remember which one it was, but it was when this Yorick skin was in the game. And the particular comp that he was in was like incredibly strong. I really need to get into TFT so I can understand what you guys are always talking about. There's often, like, because it's based on the skins of the champions, not necessarily the champion, you like start associating it with the actual TFT set. It's kind of wacky.
I mean, that's like me, you know, with Hearthstone. Like, I never played WoW, and I learned all the characters from Hearthstone.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, this matchup is definitely supposed to be Morgan favored. It is currently Morgan favored, and it's going to continue to be so.
Ghoulie Wall as the Maiden trying to do some damage here as Doran is just tanking this up.
Humbug's taking some of this jungle here as they have, again, Prio in mid and bottom lane, so Humbug is just taking what he can find, and Faker is flashed just now back up.
Okay, well, that is going to be the taunt, and he has to use the flash immediately.
Man, if they show up like just 4 seconds faster, he might actually die there. And at least he gets his flashback at the right time. Going to be a tempo ult here from Hype to clear this wave. Doran does not have TP. I actually love that usage. That's good communication of summoner spells across the bros there. Possibly even regarding Faker's flash there, but they weren't quite able to capitalize on it. They get his flash though, so it's still on cooldown.
Yeah, here's some aggression as Faker taken down a little bit too low for Carrier to be able to set anything up, I don't think.
And the game state here is really just, they got that advantage bottom lane. They've held on to a huge CS lead for this Lucian, but everywhere else is kind of on fire. Like, this is supposed to be a kind of neutralizing lane that Faker plays through. It's tough. You're not going to be able to stay even, but you shouldn't fall too far behind. But Closer, once again, all 3 games, gets a 500 gold lead before 10 minutes. And they've utilized that Prio incredibly well.
Oh, Gimmushi Carrier now back down towards the bottom side, pushing in this wave. We do have a slight advantage as far as the journey towards feats of strength are concerned. Bro being able to pick up that 1 extra kill. Only 1 more required to get those feats of warfare. It'll be the first game that they'll be able to get the feats of strength in this game. They're able to do it. In this series, I should say.
Yeah.
T1 have been able to pick that one up, whether they win or lose so far this series.
There's a cull for Hype here as well. And because, you know, they weren't able to push those advantages into kill threats or anything like that onto Hype, he will cash it in without any problems here, and that will shore up a lot of that deficit in the bottom lane. And that will put Bro in such a fantastic spot around the Rift in terms of their small edges they have.
Man, Morgan is really keeping his Maiden happy in this game. It's beautiful to see. As look at him, just draining the Scion over and over again. The Ghoulies are going to pounce onto the Scion, but he's at least getting a little bit of extra money. 2 per kill onto those. As Closer takes a bit of damage from the Winds of War here at the same time.
A little bit early on that threaded volley, but it's going to be okay. We'll grab those, and Faker will have to punch. His buffers have been really good, but it's not going to get you back control as a missed cannon.
Unfortunately as well, the if you buffer the Justice Punch just to try and get out, you still take so much damage.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
And you don't have it to do anything after that either, and the Closer just keeps pelting you. Soldier didn't get the cannon, but he's happy, I think, with the result. Faker does not have teleport, so we'll have to back here, and that's going to be some farm that has to be picked up from Guma, which means it's a free lane for Hype in the bottom side of the map. Keria?
Going to connect here as Keria is going to find the flash, pushing Closer over. He's just going to flash his way out there. It's a great Cyclone here from Humbug, but no Heartbreaker available because Owner is just dead, and now it's Keria's turn to fall down. The seismic shove is flash. Gumayushi takes down the Talia, and now he's on the offensive. Oh, the taunt not quite able to work there as Hype finds the Make It Rain, and Faker is now in the wrong spot. Even the Morning Mist to grab a bit of an assist for Morgan. That was an unintentional rhyme, but we love to see it. The Bros now just going to augment their Ocean Dragon with this Hex Tech. Let's have a look at this fight one more time. It looked like an angle that Keria has gone for in the past.
If Faker hadn't just been forced to back, if he could have joined here with his Galio ultimate, if he was actually in range right now, I feel like this is such a fantastic choice. But remember, it's Weaver's Wall here for Closer. He's playing Talia, and then finally, Galio does show up here as they retreat, and Guma has an opportunity. He's almost able to then force this into a triple kill. Flashes for the follow, but then they chase too deep, and Faker, no sums, nothing here is just left to the Wolves. Hype picks up the kill. Remember, Guma was cleaning up mid lane while Faker had to go bottom, so there was prio for Hype. It was easy for him to rotate over, and I think T1 just misjudged the overall map state there, even though it was a phenomenal attempt there from Keria.
Yeah, we've seen that exact play from Keria work out in the past, right? Like, this is not something that is surprising. The Bros just had a better answer. And I love, like, the Cyclone did so much work. You can see Humbug now sitting at 3-0-2 on this Wukong.
And the call hasn't cashed out yet. That's going to happen soon. And the misfortune is, with that extra kill, not anywhere near as far behind as she was before.
It's still about 20 CS, but you're right. As soon as that cull cashes in, it's going to mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and...
3-3 in these grubs.
Yeah, this is...
And Wolf, that's feats of strength for Bro for the first time.
Yep, they got it. They have a 2 Drake lead for another Infernal Soul in this game. T1 are going to have to really figure out how they're going to fight here. And it's not it's not that Lucian doesn't scale in terms of damage, but into this composition, when you fall behind, it's so hard to actually pilot. And we talked about the lack of necessarily consistent damage that you're going to have with this pick, and the oomph that you don't have with a pick like Azero. The Aphelios is over here. Morgan.
The Ghoulie Wall is just going to block out Doran completely, and now Morgan just trying to turn the fight onto Ona. And the hook going to come down to the mid lane as well. We are fighting everywhere. The Weaver's Wall brings Closer in as the culling going to be interrupted. Does nothing. Seismic shove pushes Guma back, but he's offering so much damage. Another double tap, and it was almost an anchor to the noggin, but instead, the bullet takes him down.
Guma caught here in the mid lane, in the play, and I mean, Doran's attempt to look for something there with Owner is blocked by the Ghoulie Wall. Owner's forced to use his Heartbreaker. He doesn't have flash in that situation. They're losing there, they're losing mid, and it's Closer's Talia every time. That's exactly where he needs to be, and that's what you want. That's what you want to do with Talia. You want to utilize your Weaver's Wall to show up, and he's outpacing Faker, who also has his own global ultimate he can use to potentially follow if they have similar map control, but they don't. And I think T1 are not respecting the Bros, and I think Chronicler put it really well. I'm pretty sure it was Chronicler said earlier, like, even our, likely Legend group teams, if they don't respect, every LCK team can take them down. Yeah. Every single one.
Every team in the LCK is good.
Every team is LCK
some
level.
of them are better than others, right? And so if you let your guard down, you will lose a game. We've seen it so many times. I mean, there are teams that have kind of made it their MO. They're called KT and DK. And they just tend to lose. As soon as you drop your guard against any squad, you will certainly lose out. But I think this is more a story of the Bros just playing fantastically well. The evolution of Closer and his Talia is another thing that I just love talking about. This guy is so good at this champion.
I mean, they just misread the situation because Keria splitting off there was what caused this situation. But then Guma was like, well, I got to go in for this, but went in right before Closer showed on Vision. He's like, oh, man, now I'm in big trouble as well. Then he played it well as best as he could to try to trade that back. Almost got a trade back kill, but didn't. But, yeah, and Bro has been that trap game as well for many teams.
Oh, yeah.
Genji, D+, in the past. That's why they have the nickname Kingslayer.
Well, there's an almost point-blank Weaver's Wall as the Seismic Shove just going to push him over the rocks. And he does get a taunt. Faker able to flash his way out, but Polu turns up and just takes out the Gargoyle.
That's a third death here for Faker on this Galio, and he flashed as well. Man, this is starting to just be, we're getting close to the insurmountable lead level here for Bro. And remember, the Cole cashed in. It's a second kill for Hype he picked up. He has the lead now as well, and Keria is in no man's land.
Yeah, well, he's looking for an angle. Depth charge onto Gumayushi, his owner. Now having to get out of this bullet time. He goes back in because the hook lands once again, and Polu just turns and takes down owner. Now Gumayushi having to deal with Morgan, but the goalie wall traps him in. He has a dash and a flash. He's able to get himself out. The Morgan says, no, you are going down. The goalies are gonna get him.
Guma got ghoulied.
Oh no, there's no worse way to go.
Owner lost his flash, you know, trying to get out there, then decided to Heartbreaker back in because he's like, well, this is, I'm definitely gonna die, but maybe I can get a kill. Doesn't get it, so now he's down flash, now he's down ult. So he can't be anywhere. We're going all the way back to this play here, where the shove pushes Faker, it seems like, away, because Faker's on top of him, but then Hambak is also here with the ultimate. Palu is also here because they have so much map control. Palu's roams, we talked about it throughout this series, have been much better. It's not an early game roam anymore, but it's a relevant one. And Keria is here trying to hold vision. When again, you don't have map control. It's almost as if T1 have forgotten what it's like to not be in control at this stage of the game. Because right now they are not. They're playing like they are. As Owner Flash goes for the Heartbreaker here, is taken out. And then Guma with the red buff here for Morgan tries his best to get out. Gets caught in the ghoulie wall. And then flashes, but is not in range to get over the wall the way he wants to. And then, boop.
Oh, just understanding that your ghoulies can take care of it as well. Look at Morgan.
He might not play Jace,
yeah,
but he's going to play what he likes, and he's going to enjoy it.
And he definitely enjoys playing some Yara, because this guy, he made his career. We were talking about his time on Humble Life Esports, where they somehow made it to the top 8 at Worlds after being a 7th place team or something like that in the LCK. Of course, DRX then did it better, but this was the year before. But he was playing Camille, going like 0-3. He's 1-0-1 in this game, but going like 0-3 and then still winning the game by playing split push better. And he's doing it once again here on the Yorick.
Died, I guess, in replay, or no, forced to flash, I guess. And then they got the turret on the top side. So T1 did get that back. It's still a big gold lead here for Bro.
And so much hangs in the balance for this game. Of course,
it's a huge win for Bro. I mean,
it really is.
Up to 3-5, it's an upset win. I think confidence-wise, it does wonders for you. And for T1, it's another block. You know, you felt like you really got your confidence back. You crushed D+, but then lost to Bro. It feels like you've gone back to square one. I mean, they haven't lost yet, but I'm just saying if they do, the implications are high. And it's a whole point here for Infernal Soul for Bro. I mean, everything is coming up green.
And this is also Degon's elected Bro prediction for the week.
The only person who did it.
He did.
He was the only person who predicted.
He probably felt like he needed to because he's the Bro guy and likes to definitely do it. But this is looking pretty likely right now.
You actually did predict T1 against D+ as well. So you and Degon were the only ones to pred T1 in that series, and then you predicted against them here.
Well, I mean, you put in all of your work to try and take down the team that's in the top 3, and then you let it slip against the Bros. We've seen it so many times before, but that wasn't the reason why. It's just that DK just loses to T1. That's just how it goes. Owner going to come on over and smite away the blue buff. Nicely done.
I mean, they're going to get this turret here, and the Herald may not even necessarily need this charge for it, but they will use it just the same. I think they get a second, whichever way you slice it. As Doran's looking for a flank.
Oh, this just in, by the way. If the Bros do win this, we will actually have a call set up with Dagon as a hook. Going to connect it. There's the double knock up, the double shove as well, and Oda cannot do anything at all. Look at the position here from Polo as he's not even going down on these front lines as Morgan gets into the thick of things. Faker is going to get taken out. Another shove is going to connect as the health bars are low, but the bros don't care. Doran able to get out of there with Gumayushi, but the rest of them are on the floor, and it's only President Polo that gets taken out. The bros can take anything on this map.
And I really think that T1 have kind of realized and identified that this is just not going to get better. If they sit back and say, well, we'll scale with this Lucian, that's not going to work. And so they want to look for this flank play here, but over the wall, Hype's able to follow up so brilliantly on this setup here for Hambach. Faker gets isolated, and it's just an easy cleanup, and Closer can follow up from so far away, and he says that's another dead cow. Closer's having, I mean, I'll say it one more time. I swear it's the last time, but he's having a great year. Like, I never thought we would see this. I never thought we'd see this. Like, I thought Closer had peaked. I thought in the early days when he was on Live Sandbox, we were like, oh, he's improved a little bit, but it felt like we saw the ceiling. We absolutely did not, and it's taken him moving to Bro to actually really allow him to reach his full potential. His champion pool is super unlocked. Again, it's a great meta for him right now because all of the strong champions in the mid lane, outside of Victor, I would say, are great picks for him. He's super good at all of them. So, you know, he's just loving life right now, and he's loving the game state here that he has really helped shape along with Palu to a massive lead. And T1 go for that play because they're like, we can't just sit back, but it backfires. They lose more. They fall further behind. It's a 5,000 gold lead now.
And Bro can now take whatever they'd like. They've got Soul Point, as it's another Infernal Soul this game. Morgan able to just push relentlessly. And 2 items now done as well. I mean, there is a lot of armor built up by Doran. I don't know Morgan is going to be too worried about it, though. Doesn't have a Hullbreaker yet, which is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah. It
is normally item number 1. Maybe this is team fight Yorick instead.
I think he's identified too that they have so much control that he kind of just wants to make sure his team wins fights that seem pretty unlosable, but with him being there, he offers just that extra bit of damage that actually might be the breaking point. Because he doesn't need Hullbreaker to push Faker that's 0-4 out of the lane. He doesn't need Hullbreaker to push out a Scion. You know, he's happy to just be like, yeah, Shojin it up. He's just kind of winning. And so that is going to be helpful here. As remember, we are still counting down towards the Doran assists as well. We need 5 more, I'm pretty sure. But he's only got 1 this game. So it's not quite there yet. Might not happen if the game state continues to be this way. Hambach's so difficult to punish here. Owner has his flash and ult back up, but not going to be able to go in on this one. Too risky for Guma to dash through to try to punish. Hambach going in, though. Yeah, speaking of dashing through, Doran is going to be the one engaged on another seismic shove going to connect this time. Carrier going to deliver a gargoyle to this fight. No knockups to come in, though, and the bullet time doing a lot of work. Carrier going to have to flash away. Hambach going to get knocked up, though. Now it could be the turnaround as Hambach going to get taken down. Gumayushi getting that kill is actually so huge as well, but he's now trapped in the ghoulie wall. And Ona looking for an opportunity. Seismic shove going to get heartbreaked. And bro, they do lose their jungler. They don't lose anyone else. However, T1, they keep everyone alive. I mean, there's no jungler for this Infernal Soul, so T1 are interested in committing to this. Doran goes back, TP's back in at full health. They don't have vision, but they have the numbers advantage, and they think that's going to be enough. Guma's very far behind. However, they don't spot him as he moves over. Hype going to be able to clear out some vision. I don't think Bro should commit to this. They don't have ult on Misfortune. There's not a whole lot of damage here. I mean, you don't have to go for this fight. Absolutely. Just back away, bro. There is absolutely no reason to toss this in. And that is going to be, in fact, bounty gold going over to T1 here. Doran. That's how dire the situation was, but still a big moment to deny that Infernal Soul. Doran absorbs everything here. He plays this fight so brilliantly as he ends up taking a ton of damage, right? Guma's layering damage in on the side here onto Palu. Carrier gets the bot back, which forces Palu to flash away. And then Doran actually is like, all right, well, if we're going to win this, I actually have to go in. Ends up getting the avoid over there on the shove and then re-engages on top of Hambach to secure the kill. Then decides to continue to push and chase. Then they realize, okay, with Closer at full health, it's going to be tough. And there's a bit of a split call here between Owner and Doran, I think, on the chase there, which of course forces Owner to use his Heartbreaker to get away. Flash now down on the Viego as well, but the fact that T1 are able to win something here, they've been able to keep the gold lead only 4,000, hasn't ballooned any further, is hope enough, I think, for T1 fans. Still a rough situation here, but that Scion is getting tankier. That Lucian is starting to be hit a little bit harder as this game goes on. It's not a one game until the Nexus explodes.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that T1 have a lot of longevity in this composition as well, with the fact that Morgan picked the Yorick, means that 5v5s are going to just inherently be less strong. But still, felt like the Bros had such an incredible lead that even a team-fighting Yorick was going to be able to do well, especially when paired with the Cyclone bullet time, right? That combination is devastating. We've seen it already utilized pretty effectively.
Yeah, they really need to end this game ASAP. They're setting up a ton of Baron vision, and they might have to start thinking about just forcing T1 to come to them on that by starting the Baron. It's on spawn here, and it is a misfortune comp.
Yep.
Talia's got Leandri's. I mean, it's not the slowest Baron of all time, but I think if they do give T1 a few more minutes here, like you said, the Sion is always going to be more relevant later on. And the Lucian arguably in some cases will be too if you don't hit that perfect combo.
Yeah.
Hype.
And Gumayusi has been great in these team fights so far as well. As soon as the rocks go down and he has, you know, the ability to dash around, get into position, has been pretty impactful.
I wonder if they saw that ward. If they did not, it may stay uncleared. That's a showcasing there of the observers that one is not under either of those control wards. I don't think they know it is there. It's not pinged.
Yeah,
so
they're going to need to sweep that out, I reckon.
Yeah, that's going to give a huge opportunity to Owner. He's going to have his flash back up relatively soon, and Flash Heartbreaker Viego has had some incredible steals, and Owner has had some incredible steals across his career, regardless of champion. That could be T1's window back into this game.
Well, Morgan going to be just taking a red buff for the team. Then heading back down towards the bottom side, I would assume. Only one turret taken here by T1. It's kind of crazy, but it does mean there's a lot of standing gold on the map in comparison to the 3 turrets that Bro have been able to take down. Doran not going to get shoved back. It probably would have been okay if that had happened, despite the fact that he has mainly stacked armor.
Yeah, I think he would have been a little annoyed, but not too bothered overall.
Yeah.
Faker went for the Riftmaker build here, but you know, we're not talking about death cap in this game, I don't think. Super far behind in this one on this Galio, but still is going to be a big R button to press in these team fights to help keep them alive, to get that turn, get that kill onto that first engaging champion, likely the Wukong, to then transform into and try to turn the fight. Could also be turning into a Nautilus, you know, depending on the situation, but
yep.
That is, you know, where Faker can offer a lot in these fights despite being behind on this utility pick. I just think that Closer's almost too big to fail.
Doran's pretty big as well, but he is kind of alone. Gonna get shoved back. Closer is able to do a lot of damage, as we can see there. You know, I was kind of doubting it, but probably shouldn't have.
I'll have to hold my thought on this, as we might have a bit of a situation here. Not quite. I was going to say, one of the things that Nidalee does better than Yorick is just like, you know, when you actually build the Hullbreaker and you're in a side lane for even like 5 seconds, the turrets explode. Yorick is getting some alone time up here, but they're gonna have to they're gonna force the chase on him.
Goalie wall.
And chasing a Sion with multiple people while you're not fully in control of Baron on the top side is just giving T1 more time. And Doran, you know, he took some damage there, but he's happy to actually absorb the pressure. He's happy to give T1 a few extra minutes here.
And I think it's a really good idea to make sure that they get that bottom wave shoved out as well in T1's mind, just with the fact that this dragon is going to be so incredibly important. Once again, an opportunity for Bro to get that Infernal Soul.
Morgan has TP and has control of that top wave. Dragon spawns in 15. So scary to walk in without vision for T1 into this Talia composition. They know where Talia is now, but once she rejoins, they will not.
Yeah. And remember as well, this is with Ruinous Archon as well. So these 3 Drakes going to be augmented further with some extra infernalness. Hook going to connect onto Doran, but immediately Polu backs away. I think this is really smart. You don't want to engage onto a Sion.
Yeah, do not overcommit your cooldowns on that champion.
He's just pressing that Q button as many times as he can.
T1 have to come in and check. They have to come in. Doran's going to be the guy who comes over and checks. Dragon has not been started yet.
Yeah. Oh, back to come in from Faker. He's got teleport available. There's the flash pole as Polu now looking to lock down Owner. Hype moving on over, though. He's got a great position as Gumayusi with the culling, but they just take down the Viego, and Guma is below half health. Hype flashes for it. Guma's able to get out, but he's not doing any damage, and I say it and it's a lie. It's Morgan that takes him down, and now Doran and Faker against the world, and the world, ladies and gentlemen, is Bro.
And they're just going to walk down mid and end it. Who needs an Infernal Soul? Closer says, get off that Dragon, Humbug. I don't need it.
Well, he's not able to wall Doran in, but I don't think this Scion is going to be able to stop. Never mind. That Scion can stop him. He just flashes on top of him, and he dies.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to defend even so, but that's a lot of damage gone. And
yeah, I don't think they win here.
Yeah,
I don't think they win here.
They're just going to pull back here and start the Dragon. I think with the Taliyah, maybe it's a different story, but either way, this fight is so broken up for T1. Remember, Faker gets the back off here. The engage happens before Faker can show up, and the faster teleport comes through from Doran. But what this is really about is Owner and Guma being completely split here as the rest of T1 are actually looking for the collapse onto Closer. It goes down to about 1 health. Like, basically literally 1, and then is still able to escape. It's just split calls on target selection across the board here for T1. And as soon as Owner died, this comp just fell apart, and they were not able to pivot to another target. T1, they were already massively behind in gold, which played a big factor there, but I think with better target selection, that fight looked a little bit different, or would have looked a little bit different.
Yeah.
Tier 3 boots for Closer and Hype now as well.
Oh my goodness. This is Bro with so much control of this game. It's 7,000 gold, the advantage, with Infernal Soul on top of that. Ruinous Archon buffing it all up. They've got 49 stacks on those pedals. And what I want to talk about is the most important thing here for Bro, as Closer is just going to get picked off and destroyed. That is called a Fnatic Rush, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen this one before. And T1 are able to take down a very pivotal part of the Bros. So no Baron to be taken here.
I think Bro need to make a very decisive call here as to what they're going to do. Keria is unseen. I think Bro might actually just have to back out of here.
Well, they're just going to start the Baron. They have full information through the Bros. As there's the hook. Bullet time going to come on through. It does so much damage. But now, Keria finds the backline. It's another headbutt onto Hype as they just take out the bottom lane. T1! They're really good at setting up for Barons. That has not changed. And they are going to be able to take this purple worm off the map.
I mean, T1 just straight up hide on Bush. Kill Closer, go to Baron, and Bro, do not track Keria. That's a play from Keria there where if you're not aware where the Alistar is, you probably shouldn't try to channel like that. You probably shouldn't try to look for that freebie. Like, oh, they're all in the Baron pit. I'll just set up this cone. Because if Keria shuts you down and dumps you into 5 T1 players, you're not going to have a good time. T1 now completely in control of the map here. There's so much standing gold you mentioned, plus bounties here.
Yeah,
and the gold lead is going to wash away. As you see here, Closer, there's nothing in the bush. They know it. They put the control ward in. Keria goes in first. They just chain CC him to death. And then Bro could have played this very differently. They could have played back on the river brush. They could have had Hambach look for an angle there, force T1 to come out of the pit. Instead, they just channel here, looking for the front line when Faker has Zhonya's and Keria says no. They didn't know where Keria was. They didn't track him. They had no idea. And it lost them this fight, and it lost them the Baron.
People.
Just calling misfortune before he even goes in.
And he knew, and then just calls the Baron. And so T1 now going to even things out. It's not completely even, but 3,000 gold at 33 minutes into the game means basically nothing. You can see the Bro hump, which was the gold graph, is going to take a little bit of a turn south here for T1, who continue to take down these turrets. 3,000 gold on the Red Bull Baron power play.
But now, Bro do have really good wave clear, and they have Infernal Soul, and they have Otacon Infernal Soul. So, you know, this is not going to be T1 just getting Baron and then getting a freebie win in terms of getting all these standing gold on the map. They got some of it.
Elder in 3 minutes.
Yeah, they got some of it. Elder's in 3. The question is who can control vision before that Elder spawns. Things would look so different if Closer hadn't died to Doran's flash and they got the inhibitor. You know, maybe they could have gotten more, but if they got the inhibitor at least, you know, this game would look so different. A hero play, all these small dominoes keeping T1 in this game.
Hype now has a Guardian Angel. That's going to be important. Still got one more item to complete, as Gumayushi has moved to a slight gold advantage, as we can see, only 100. But Owner as well. He's been farming up a Storm and actually has been able to collect a few kills here on this Viego to stay relevant in this game.
Closer, items. I was just going to say Closer is the guy right now.
Oh yeah.
For Bro. Like he does so much damage with the Infernal Soul. He cannot be caught. He cannot be picked again. And they also have so many different ways they can set up the bullet time, right, Allison? That's how these fights are going to explode T1, but they need to be so careful. Like, right now, pushing up this far when you don't know where anyone is scary!
Well, the flash out from the headbutt pole as the train comes through. It's blocked by Polo as this time Hype's position. is pretty good. Knock up onto a clone though, and now the re-engage for the Bros. Seismic Shove goes wide, but Doran's health bar is getting destroyed. And now Morgan looking to put up a ghoulie wall to stop T1's advance. Closer finds another Seismic Shove. Here are the knock-up, Cyclone onto 3. Faker goes golden, but that's another follow-up on the CC. Doran staying alive, but it's the Viego starting to get some resets, and Faker looks for some knock-ups. The bullet time is gorgeous from Hype, and the Bros, I think, have done it. Man, Hype was so patient, held it for the pristine moment, and it's only the GOAT left alive, and I think the only pleasure he'll have is watching his Nexus explode.
Yeah, the GOAT may bleed, but I don't think he can stop this push. Hype coming in, level 18, 4 items on the Misfortune. A late ultimate, but the one he was looking for, and T1 will finally fall in a grueling 3-game series.
First it was BNK, now it is the Bros that have taken down T1. Nexus turrets falling, nothing Faker can do to stop the eventuality of the Bro win. And they do it. It was in the water.